business to have a human being operate it. But then in other instances, like we're looking to turn on a new self-quote wizard for quoting, and people being able to just, be at home, not have to leave their home and be able to get a quote without having to pick up a phone is really powerful for people as well. And so we're looking to turn on like a self-quote wizard rather than having to speak to a person. And we're looking to go the hybrid model with that, where there's going to be some people, like when you go to Coles and they do the self-checkout, and then there's some instances where people want to speak to someone or have someone else do it for them and, guide them through that journey. And so we're going to be running that hybrid model. We find that's going to be the most effective.
And it's giving people choice, isn't it? Starting to see in the future. Lloyd, what are you finding with cloud staff? What's the need that you're serving mostly at the moment?
Look, our customers, similar to, I think we've also invested out in marketing. We actually moved to work from home on March the 12th, and on March the 19th, we closed a $30 million Series B round. And so that was all planned before COVID. So so part of that was about growing our US strategy. So we've now put about $1 million into a US marketing campaign. And so that's really a key part of what we've been doing with digital. So it's all across the board. But one of our biggest successes is actually a hand curated email program. And that's, so it's a combination of not just doing digital, not just doing, paid AdWords out there, but we also go through and have a team of people that craft an email around a campaign with playbooks, and that tends to get a lot higher open rates than using some of the standard mail campaigns out there. But and you can do this stuff now a lot easier than you previously could.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? I think the connectivity, as you said, Mark, people at night are looking out of how they can access this information very quickly. But I think nothing replaces that human-to-human interaction if we're actually starting to inquire about what's got to change. And I guess that's what the purpose of these series is. We've got 18 of the top CEOs, and you've got an opportunity to ask them questions. Often what I learned when I did work under Screw Turner at Flight Centre was come with the answer. Think about the question, but if there's one potential answer and a second potential answer, which one would, somebody who could mentor you that's been through the trenches, which one would be the wisest? And this is your opportunity. So we've got Michael, we've got Lloyd, we've got Mark here to ask questions, and I'd encourage you just to pop in the chat what your question is, and our team are going to be looking at the questions that are going to help the maximum number of people. So this is our opportunity to pass over to you. Is there something specific that you've had that you're attracted to come on to this leadership series for? And pop your question here and let's start answering some questions. But Lloyd, if you had a question to CEOs right now, what would your question be to a CEO that's leading in 2021?
Look, I think the question that I'm always asking is, really around that. Where do you do you think 2021 is going to be a growth year? Or what are those sort of strategies around how you're growing in these sort of times there? So
yes, that's it, isn't it? In fact, I saw Mark Webber yesterday in his office. He's again next week, and he's got a picture there. I don't know if you can grab it off your desk, Mark, but it has comfort and then growth. And what's the little bubble that it says above there, Mark? Oh, there it is. I can see the picture, but I can't read it. We're not going to get on or something? Let me unmute.
You see that?
Here we go. Growth, talking to comfort. And what does he say in the bubble?
This is not going to work out.
Mr. Growth talking to Mr. Comfort. I don't think this is going to work out. How do we, when we've got a question here around servant leadership for Mark from Tracy, is there a book or more information that you refer to around servant leadership? How have you learnt about that, Mark?
To be honest, to give you the honest answer, I've got a Christian faith, and so the book I recommend is the Bible. looking at the way Jesus led was through servant leadership. And so I think that's the best example, regardless of your, I guess, your faith or beliefs. If you just study the man or the human behind the way he led and the influence, and you think of legacy as a leader, and this is someone who's had a legacy, 2,000 plus years after he's left Earth. And I think, that's, I would say, a really good example of servant leadership. So yeah, that's the honest answer.
Oh, fantastic. Great answer. Absolutely. And so if we're thinking about for you and setting that bar on servant leadership, is there a practice, something that you do every day, a habit that you would encourage other CEOs to take on board?
Yeah, so like I'm sure most of you guys, start the day every day with my daily devotion, just reminding myself of who I want to be, what I want to be reminded about as a person, and just continuing to, I guess, ask myself the question of, my role is to just help make people better. People come and go. I'm sure Lloyd, 3,500 staff members, that's you're leading you're influencing such a huge volume of people, and most people spend most of their life in the workplace, and so they get most of their I guess the trajectory of their life through the influences within that workplace. And so it's just constantly reminding us, we've been I guess blessed with a position of influence, and not to abuse that position, but to try to leverage off that to help make sure other people, whether they stay, whether they come and go, that they leave this organization better than they came in.
Yes. No, I think it's wonderful. And we're with those people the longest period of time, aren't we? We spend more time with our work colleagues often than the people in our family, if we're blessed to be able to go into an office. There's a question here that says, are you experiencing people that are resistant to remote working? What's been the staff productivity compared to pre-COVID? And this is something I know, state development, we're talking to people resistant going back into an organised workplace. They are more productive from home. Lloyd, what's your stance on that? Were you happy for them to work from home?
It really is up to our customers, and but we will have 200 or 300 of our staff who will never come back to the office again. The customers said, look, it's working for us. Jane, we're getting the same level of work. Maybe it's a little bit better because she doesn't have to commute to work, and she's happy working at home. So, we want this model. So we introduced an Office Flex model where we said we embraced home as part of that. We provide the internet connection and desks and chairs, and they get the perks couriered out to them and those sort of things. So it's going to be part of the mix. But then we have other customers where we do, confidential background checks for, investors in Hong Kong companies, and that has to occur in a PCI compliant, secure environment. So it really depends upon what the customers are kind of looking for. And also some of our customers are looking for a bit of a hybrid solution, where they say, well, look, maybe the staff will come in 1 week or 2 weeks a month, and the other 2 weeks they can work from home. So that's how we've adapted to being able to support this model. But it will be part of the mix, and part of my job is also making sure that staff feel comfortable when they do want to come to work. So we've had to do things such as break our offices into smaller sections and provide private transport for them and those sorts of things. So it's been just one of the ways, and we've had to adapt.
That's a huge adaptation, isn't it? Michael Sherlock, if you think about property then, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of CEOs who say that they'd lease half the office space now, doing a 2-day, 3-day flexible workspace. Do you think this is going to have an impact long-term with property?
It may be for the public service area, in the private sector. So at Sentinel, we relocated over Christmas to a new office. So we designed ourselves we think COVID's here and the conditions are here to stay. So we relocated into an office designed to suit COVID environment. So we've got all the distancing. We did have our team over 2 levels. So now we got them on 1 level. So everyone's got the distance they're required apart from their desks and separation. We've got our meeting level. Our rooms are a lot bigger. Our meeting rooms are a lot bigger because we had a limit on how many people you could get in there. So we've sort of gone the opposite way, and we're finding, like, we had an office in Canberra where the government lease had expired and they were going to let it go, and they've come back to us, and because it was an old office, it was designed under the old things with no hot desking and things like that. So they've come back and signed up on a, you know, release this old design office because it was COVID.
We might just ask you to mute if you're not speaking, if that's okay. We're just getting a bit of feedback. That'd be great.
But, you know, and so, yeah, I think that, you know, we're a herd, a lot of people, and we like to gather together, and you can be more creative and all of that. So we're finding that we're leasing more office space. We own office space all around Australia. So we're finding the opposite, because you can't do hot desking, you can't do chicken coops. You got to have meeting rooms that are bigger. I walked past the art gallery the other day, you know how they have the signs on the door, how many people are allowed in that room. So this meeting room is, the capacity is 1. So you can go in there and have a meeting. So all those in favour, 1 person. So yeah, you've got to redesign your office for COVID. I don't know if anybody reads Bernard Salt in the Australian.
Bernard Salt, you know, yes.
Yeah, demographer. He's come up with this new thing called HOBO, Home Office Broadcasting Office. That's what we are now. So in your house, everyone needs a home office. You work from home, but it's mainly a broadcasting office, because you can do podcasts, you can do these sort of conferences and all that sort of thing. So, you know, that's as well as all of these other things. So there's a new horizon out there that that COVID has presented to us, and we're, you know, in some instances people may want to work from home, but after a while they're just going to get lonely.
Yes.
All the lonely people, where do they all come from?
And Mark,
Eleanor Rigby, in case you were wondering what I was.
Heard that, yes. WOTSO, tell us about WOTSO and what they do every Friday. How's that been working for you?
Yeah, great. Yeah, so our office is in WOTSO. If ever you guys have seen, it's like a co-working space. We've got an office space here, and you know, we're obviously not as big as you know, I guess like Cloud Staff with 3,500